Hi everybody, it's Michael Buckley and welcome to The Struggles is Real. I'm here with Steven, my friend Boogie. Tell everybody who doesn't know you, your YouTube channel, what do you do on YouTube? Tell them everything.
I am YouTuber Boogie2988, or if you watch video games, you can find me on Twitch at Boogie2988, and I do a lot of different stuff. I do like these angry, fake rage videos with my character Francis, who talks with a lisp and gets really excited about video games or abuses his family. And then I do vlogs in which I talk about life and the universe and things around us and things that are particularly interesting to me. And since this is The Struggle is Real,
yes,
I quite often talk about some of the issues that I've faced with growing up poor and then growing up in an abusive family, and talking about what it's like to be a heavyset guy, a food addict, someone who's struggling with his health and his weight. And I talk about depression and anxiety, things that I've suffered from my entire life, and I try to help people by talking about this stuff. I feel like nobody talks about this stuff.
Yeah, well that's kind of why I wanted to do this channel, because I was going through my own struggles, and I just think it's very helpful. I know when I bring people on and they say, oh, I've gone through this, and I say, what has been your biggest challenges and how have you overcome them? So you already, without even me asking you, listed off some things. I mean, you've overcome a lot, or had to overcome. So I mean, what have been, in the years you've been on this planet, the biggest challenges, and how did you overcome them, and how did you get through it? Bullet points, story of survival, right?
I'll often say that I think kind of some of the high points of my life are like a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's like Flowers in the Attic level of stuff. Like I grew up in an abusive family that did not want me, that did not like me, that did not provide for me. And when they did provide for me, it was very abusive and nightmarish. And I was physically and mentally and abused in other ways that I'm not very comfortable talking about by several members of my family, not on a monthly basis, not a weekly basis, but a daily basis. And one of the examples that I'll give is I once leapt out of a moving car directly in front of my high school to keep my mother from fully clawing out my left eye during an abuse attack. It's because we had found out that she had found out that there was a field trip for a club that I was part of that I refused to go on because I'd have to ask her for $20. $20 is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so she found out, well, we're not poor, they're going to think we're poor. She got very angry at me and began to punch me and claw at my face with her nails, and I made the educated decision of opening the door to get away from it. You know, and like that kind of stuff happened all the time. I've been hit in the head with a hammer, I've been burnt, I've been stabbed, I've been cut by those people.
So how are you still alive? What kept you alive at that age to think, you know, don't off myself or don't let somebody off me? Like how did you have the strength and the courage to stay alive all these years?
Like I will say the biggest part of it is luck, because a lot of experiences I could easily have not survived and maybe should not have survived. Another part of it is hope. I mean, it's always hope. Like that's always the answer. Yeah. Like I knew that life was miserable for me, and I knew it wasn't for everybody else I knew. Like most of the people I knew, some of us were poor, but they were happy. Some of us were you know, in abusive families, but it wasn't as bad. And I understood that eventually I would turn 18, and if I could survive long enough to do that, that I would get that opportunity. Now I lost hope. I lost my Christianity at the age of 12. I read the book of Job at a very bad time, and I walked away from religion pretty much since. And around the age of 15, I lost my real will to live and had attempted to contemplate suicide. I mean, I acted on it, but being a heavy guy, I couldn't find a place to hang myself.
Oh God!
So I tried.
That's I can't. You have to almost laugh at that when you say it. It's like, what do you do?
Like that saved my life.
Yeah.
So I attempted instead to asphyxiate myself with a belt and a door jamb.
Oh my God!
And could not. You know, I did not have either the strength or the weakness that you need to do that. I don't know what you would call that, but
no, right.
Well, right after that, almost as if I earned it by going through that, I ended up in a pre-collegiate program called Upward Bound for gifted but underprivileged kids. And in Upward Bound, I was a completely different person. No one knew about the abuse that I'd gone through. Nobody understood. I wasn't stigmatized as that fat kid with the mental problems. I was somebody new, you know. And a lot of the kids in that group had problems of their own. And so we wore our problems like a badge of honor rather than something we were ashamed of. And I met the very first girl I ever dated, who was my best friend until she died last year of breast cancer. And she was one of the most fantastic people I've ever met in my life. And through her and through those people and through that program, I began to understand that I was smart and that this stuff happens to all kinds of people, and that if you can endure it, if you can survive it, it can get better, and it has, I mean, dramatically so.
Yeah.
And I often think I've been successful at the age of 15, I'd have weighed enough to be able to actually hang myself, or if I had had the drive to asphyxiate myself, I would have never experienced all the things that I've experienced, like getting interviewed by one of my YouTube idols.
Oh, stop.
You know?
Well, thank you.
What?
But what you said is something that really resonates with me, because when I talk to like young gay kids, and you just said, I always say, you got to know, when you get 18, when you turn 18, it's like, you can run for your life. If your
Right.
home life is bullshit, it's like, there's a whole world out there so when I love that at 15, you realize, you know what, I've made it to 15, I just got a little more time, and then you found your way in the world. Now, being overweight, like what has been the reaction on YouTube? Do people write like horrible things, or they write mostly supportive things now, because you are a popular YouTuber? But when you started, what did people kind of write to you?
Well, when I started on YouTube, to me it was like therapy.
Yes, I say that all it is. It's very therapeutic.
The entire reason I did it was because I wanted to experience some exposure therapy. I was not very versed at dealing with other people, communicating with other people. The tools that I had been given as a child were all terribly mangled, broken tools.
Right.
And when I tried to interact with people in the real world, in real life, it often resulted in them getting hurt, me not understanding why people were getting hurt. And YouTube, the same way video games like World of Warcraft and EverQuest served the purpose in allowing me to interact through a filter.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube was another extension of that.
Yeah.
And so when I went to YouTube, I just craved attention, negative or positive attention.
That makes
and I
sense.
expected negative attention because that's what I'd gotten my entire life.
Yeah.
And when I started on YouTube, the majority of my attention was, of course, very negative, because I'm a big guy. It was very clear that I did not love myself. It was very clear that I was making myself the point of the joke every time, and people responded to that with negativity. But a few people, I think of my friend Adam, who's one of my best friends to this day, reached out to me, and it's like, hey, you're a cool guy, you know, you're funny. I like that stupid little rap video you made. The Francis stuff is funny, but you're a nice guy. You're a good guy. You deserve good things. That positive reinforcement is what made me continue on YouTube. I could have made one or two silly videos and get called fat.
Right.
Well, to this day, I mean, obviously there's people who evaluate me exclusively on how much of this screen I'm taking up with this blue shirt.
Right.
And that's a reasonable thing to do. And I understand that right now in this country, a lot of people see somebody who's overweight and they realize it is a choice. You know, I have chosen, I've made a lot of decisions that's made me this size. And it's understandable to disrespect or dislike that. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is I don't want to be this size anymore. I'm not happy this way anymore. But it's going to be a very time-consuming process.
Yeah.
And I've been working for the last 3 years with a doctor to try to get my hormones correctly balanced, to try to get my body to react, to get my body to produce testosterone so I can build muscle, so that we can repair my bones, so that I'm able to exercise, so that I'm fit to survive a bariatric surgery. And we've tried all of these things. And over the last 3 years, very many people have lost their patience with me. Because why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it right, though. You're not just taking a diet and going to drop like 100. You're doing it.
Which I've done. Dozens of times.
Right.
50 pounds down, 50 pounds up. 50 pounds down, 50 pounds up.
Right.
Let's do keto. We'll lose 50 pounds. We'll put it back on. You know, it's I don't know. But it's a struggle. I think that there's a lot of people in the United States that are persecuted because of things that they are, things that they want, things that they do. But for the most part, I think even the most ignorant people will understand that it's rarely a choice.
Right.
The color of your skin is not your choice. Who you love is not your choice. These are not things that you choose. They perceive obesity as a choice.
Right.
And because of that, it's still okay to detest the person who made that choice.
Right.
And I try to overcome that every day. I try to educate people on that every day. You know, and I think I do a very good job of it. I think I've met a lot of people who said, you know, until I saw you on YouTube, it didn't click.
Yeah.
You know, but when I saw you, it clicked. I finally got it. Just because you're fat doesn't mean you're any less, more, or less or more valid than me.
Right.
you know.
I mean, when I'm looking at you right now, I'm just thinking, this is when you're at VidCon, and it's like, I'm so grateful for YouTube because people know you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like when people would say to me like, oh, you were the first gay person I ever saw, suddenly you don't hate gay people anymore because you're like, oh, he's not so bad. It's almost like, same thing, it's like, oh, I hate fat people, or oh, blah, blah, and then it's like, oh, you put a face, and oh, I love this guy.
Right,
so it's
exactly.
like, I don't want to say you're the first fat person people met, but in many ways, these young kids, it's like, oh, there's
Right.
that big guy from YouTube.
Right.
And it matters. I mean, being visible matters. Being yourself matters. And I mean, I just think like you are one of the brightest lights on YouTube for that reason. It's just, I mean, it's just so nice to see people react to you. Like we were at the party last night, and people were just like, there he is. I want to say hi to him because you mean so much to our community.
I love that. I love that so much.
So
I try to be very positive in the community. Positivity is something I still struggle with all the time. I deal with anxiety. I deal with depression. It's a constant daily struggle. You know, through therapy and through medication, I've learned to control it for the most part. And when I come to YouTube, I want to bring as much positivity as possible, and the feedback for that is incredible. There's a lot of negative people out there, and it's okay to be negative. I went through that phase. We all go through that phase. I think we all have to learn empathy and sympathy at some point, and I'm glad to help people learn that. Like I'm glad to take the abuse, because if you can walk away from saying, hey, he took that abuse pretty good. He's not that bad a guy.
Yeah. Right.
Then maybe. Yeah. And at the very least, if I'm taking the abuse for some fat kid who doesn't yet know what it can be like.
Right.
If they're wasting their time on me rather than picking on him,
right.
I'm at least serving that service, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I try really hard to be positive on the YouTube. I think YouTube needs it right now.
It does.
YouTube needs all the positivity it can get.
I think the more positive things, when you have negative thoughts, you just get more negative things happen to you. And it's true, it's the laws of attraction. Right. It's when the moment, if I have bad thoughts about my life, my career, my marriage, my whatever, it's like, oh, more negative. Whereas if I think lovingly about my career, or I think lovingly about my relationships, or lovingly about my place in life, you attract way more love back. So It's like loving gratitude. I know that sounds generic, but it's true.
It's funny. I'm doing a panel here at VidCon. There's a troll in my dungeon, and I've thought quite a bit what I want to say during that. And of course, this is about having people who are on your YouTube channel, your Twitch channel, your social media, whatever, who are very negative people. I mean, some are doing it jokingly, some are doing it because they mean it. Some are using the joking, the joking aspect of it as an excuse to say what they really think or what they really mean. And it's difficult to deal with. One of the things that I always stress is that if you meet that negativity with positivity, it diffuses it.
Yeah.
What they're looking for is a negative.
Right.
They want, I feel bad, I want him to feel bad. When he feels bad, I'll feel good. But if you can roll with the punches, take Twitch for example, I have the word fat filtered on Twitch.
Yeah.
Now, I do this because I'm tired of hearing it every third word. That's a big part of it. But the other reason is because someone will come to the chat to say, oh, I saw this guy in the thumbnail. What a fat piece of garbage. How fat are you? How did you get so fat, right? But it's censored, so they'll get asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.
Yeah.
So they'll then try again with another spelling. Well, we have 20 or 30 variations of the word asterized, right? So it's all censored, so asterisk, asterisk. So we'll try, hey, no, but really, you're really blank, blank, blank. Hey, but no, you're a blank, blank, but you're a blank.
Right.
And I'll watch this person struggle for 5 minutes.
You win.
To try and say that I'm fat.
That's really genius.
And then when he finally gets through, I'll respond with, wait, I'm fat? I didn't know, dude. I thought I was allergic to the air.
Oh, man.
Well, I thought, man, I was just real swole. I thought this was water retention. Was it the food that did it? The food. It's the food, man. I'll tell my doctor. It was the food the whole time.
Thanks for chiming in, troll.
But when you respond with positivity, it defuses their negativity.
Yeah.
And it's the way that I've chosen to handle it. And you'd be surprised how many of your haters
become fans afterwards,
when you're able to do that.
I hate to cut you off, but it's dying my camera, so look at it's flashing. I could talk to you all day. I have so much respect and appreciation for you. Thank you for being on YouTube. Thank you for being on this planet, and thank you for surviving and being alive to tell your story and share it with us. I will put all of his links below.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Bye.